All right, SEC West fans, this is Rick. Uh, I want to talk to you about Alabama and Arkansas right now. The the reason why I'm just going to stay with LSU, Bama, and Arkansas because I think those are the three teams that are probably one of those three teams is going to win the West. If I'm wrong, I'll just go ahead and be wrong. But I talked about LSU the last time. I'm going to do another show after this one, talk more about LSU because a lot has happened to the Tigers since our last visit. But here's the question marks I got for Bama. The number one question I got for Bama is their quarterback situation. I know they're highly touted, but they have no experience. McCarron has a little bit of experience, but not much. He got a big ass chewing by Saban. I think that was a Tennessee game. But in the SEC, no matter how good you are, you're going to have those one or two games to where your quarterback's going to have to pull something out and win the game for them. And we saw that in Alabama's national championship season a few years ago with McElroy when he had to beat Auburn with about a minute 30 seconds left. He started off the season hot that year, and then he kind of had a mid-season slump. Played excellent against LSU, actually. But until that happens, we're going to have to see, and that's going to be a big question mark. I've been down on McElwain for like 8 months now. McElwain's our offensive coordinator. With that offensive unit he had last year, the fact that the simple fact that they even had to punt last year at any time is beyond my comprehension. Well, that might be a little too light, but maybe they should have only had to punt 5 times all year. I mean, they had 4 legitimate first-round draft choices on that offense, a seasoned senior quarterback and all that experience, and they stunk it up a lot last year. And they lost some games. Their offensive line was atrocious last year, and but on the flip side of that, after thinking about this, a lot of the guys were hurt. I know Julio Jones spent a lot of the season hurt, and I think he had some kind of broke hand or something at the Tennessee game. Patrick Peterson knocked out Trent Richardson in the LSU game, and he was hurt for a while after that. Ingram was busted up for about the first 4 games, I believe. So, the injury bug did catch him on offense last year, and maybe that's a little saving grace. But, I still think with a brand new quarterback, running back stable's full, Hanks and Mays are solid receivers that would probably start at any SEC school, in my opinion. I know they would start at LSU, and they're solid. They've been there a while. So, but we'll just have to see about that. But that is a question mark for me. Another thing is the JUCOs making these big contributions. It looks like Alabama will have some more JUCOs on the line this year, and it's been working out for them. If you look at the JUCOs in the last 2 national championship teams, Alabama and Auburn, Alabama made a lot of use out of some key positions, at left tackle and their defensive tackle from junior college ranks. And then, of course, Auburn had Cam Newton at quarterback and Nick Fairley at their defensive tackle position. So it's going to be interesting to see with Saban using more JUCOs this year. Not a lot of them, but in some in key positions. I don't know. I'd have to look back in the history and see, but I don't know if there's been a time where JUCO players have meant so much at key positions in national championship teams before in the last 2 years. The fourth major question mark I have for Bama is their secondary. Last year, they even made the LSU quarterback look good. They had a lot of balls thrown over their heads. If I was an Alabama fan, I would be pretty confident knowing that these guys have been with Saban for another year of spring ball and fall camp to learn a lot and to work hard. And I know Saban's been on their ass, so I don't know if that's a question mark or not. I'm safe to assume that they will be much improved over last year. The thing about Bama, though, is if you look at their schedule, there's not a game on here that they probably shouldn't win. You know, your Arkansas game at home, LSU at home, maybe at Florida, but we really don't know what we're going to have with Florida until they start playing some games. Maybe not until that game. Arkansas, that will probably be tough, but until Arkansas starts playing well on the road, I'll give that to Alabama too. Even though I am an LSU fan, I'm trying to be impartial here, but LSU's the only question mark really that I would circle and say I don't know what to predict the outcome, because both these teams, since I've been watching since 1976, both of them tend to bring their A games. Doesn't matter where they're playing, and it just seems that whoever, you know, makes the most out of 2 or 3 key plays and the game's going to win. So how in the hell do you determine that? Alabama's definitely got a big factor with their schedule, and that is not a question mark. Arkansas, I was ready to name them my preseason SEC West favorite until, you know, they lost Niall Davis, and I really started looking at Alabama's schedule. I think Arkansas's defense is going to continue to improve. I think their quarterback situation is probably going to be better. I know you Arkansas fans are going to say I'm crazy, but you know, I think they're going to get better, consistent, productive quarterback play this year, which is going to serve them well on the when they're on the road. Last year, that Alabama and Ohio State game, in my opinion, those 2 losses were due to poor quarterbacking. Now, you can say in Alabama, they had great quarterbacking most of the game. It's just that he threw those 2 interceptions at most inopportune time. Same thing about Ohio State. And, I think with Malik gone now, I know he was very productive and highly touted, but, the NFL people didn't think he was so highly rated, so maybe they knew something that I know still, and I know him in big games, he always found a way to choke it off. And I think Tyler Wilson, after seeing what he did against Auburn, I think there's a chance that they're going to get better quarterbacking play, and they're going to need that. I hate the fact that they lost Niall Davis. My buddy Aaron sent me a long message. I'll read some of it here about that. He said, obviously the loss of Niall hurts. Anytime you lose a return on offense that was tops in the league is going to hurt, and he was a tremendous athlete. However, when we started the year last year, he was 3rd on the depth chart behind Johnson and Wingo. Johnson got hurt early last year, and Davis got a shot. My point is, it may not be that big of a loss. Johnson tore LSU up in 2009. Plus, I think Miles did so well because of the weapons on offense. He did most of it with the best wide receiver out most of the year. He is back this year. Tyler Wilson is as good as he was in the second half against Auburn. Then I think the backs can have a pick up Niles yards rushing. So, I can see that. That makes me think Niles is not that big of a loss. But he was still the best running back in the SEC. Games on the road are a big question mark for Arkansas. We're going to know on September 24th what we're going to get from Arkansas. That's when they go play Alabama, and they got to go to LSU and play. Everything else is pretty much what they got to go to Ole Miss. That's not really a problem. But those on-the-road games, Alabama and LSU, are going to be huge for them. In the past, Arkansas hasn't been able to really perform in those situations. So that's my 3 question marks. And I really wanted to pick Arkansas to win it. Without Niles, of course, I can't. And, of course, without looking at the schedule, Alabama's got a huge favor in the schedule. I'm about to say, I hate going with the pundits, but, I just don't see Alabama's not going to win the West this year. But that's why they play the games. I appreciate y'all watching, and thanks for sending emails to SECWestDudes@live.com. Thanks.